In this video, we're going to talk about how to deal with rejection at work and in life. This presentation is meant for my ERWC class in conjunction with the business writing that we're doing for engineering and technical pathways. Okay. Notes on rejection. You will be rejected a lot at work and in life. You may never control all the sad or unhappy feelings of rejection. I'd say that you probably will be rejected for up to about 70% of the time for either ideas or for, suggestions that you might have, or for many things. Whether you're requesting a favor or you're making a claim or something like that about a product. And getting rejected is part of doing business and it's part of being alive. Sometimes rejection is personal. I mean, they make it personal, but taking it personally is your choice and may make things more difficult if you take it personally. Okay, you can you can learn to deal effectively with rejection, and I've got about 7 tips that I sort of put together from various sources online and also from my own experience. So, tip number 1, give yourself courage. Now, here we're not talking about courage necessarily to face rejection, but courage to face yourself if the rejection is based on some real fact about you. Okay? Work on you because you're feeling low. All right? Because a lot of times when you get rejected, personally, you worked like for months on an idea and then it gets rejected, you feel bad about that. Think about all the positives that are there in this experience or in whatever feedback you got, and learn about the causes and circumstances of your rejection. A lot of times at work, the rejection has a logical reason to it. All right? You want to find out about that because sometimes it could be that there's not enough time and your boss just rejects it right off. All right? There could be other mitigating circumstances. There could be things that you've said, or there's things in the presentation or in what your proposal that that's not what they're looking for, or it's going down the wrong direction, and you want to make sure you have follow through with that and find out politely on what things you actually need to get what you want or to get the idea approved. If your internal voice, and everyone's got one, is being negative, you must tell it that it's wrong. And just saying that, oh, you're not worth it, or all these different things, the internal voice, that's built in there. It's accumulation of all the negative, communication or words you've heard since you were little. All right, and it's part of who you are. It's imprinted in you, and it's going to come back up in your mind. As whenever you're doing stuff, it's going to be negative, and you need to sort of shut that down if you need to move forward. Okay. You won't learn to deal if you can't get courage to do it. You have to learn how to deal with your feelings of rejection. If you don't do that and you act out or lash out, you won't learn from it and you won't be able to get what you need for your work, okay? And be able to move forward in your life and in your career. Okay. Tip number 2, manage your emotions. This is very important. A lot of people can't manage emotions and they end up lashing out or acting out, and it'd be drama at the workplace. So you want to make sure that you can control your emotions, manage them. We're not saying suppress them or ignore them. They exist. You need to be able to feel those emotions. But you want to make sure that the emotions don't control you, but that you control the emotions. They're part of you. You're not part of them. Right? You will feel bad. But if you act out or cry or get angry, your boss or coworkers will most likely not give you good or helpful feedback because they're afraid that you're just gonna burst in tears or yell at them or throw a tantrum. Okay, feel manipulated by your emotions. Give bad performance reviews. Take away opportunities for pay and promotion, for sure, and the ultimate, which is to lay you off or to fire you. Okay, and laying off a lot of times is like a soft way of firing you. Another way would be that they would give you, that's not listed here, would give you a bad assignment, sort of make your time miserable there so that you quit. Some ways to manage emotions. Don't make it a bigger deal than it is. Be gentler with yourself. Forgive your imperfections. All right? Nobody's perfect, and to expect it to be perfect the first time you're giving a presentation, or even if it's the third or fourth time to a different group of people, you know, is crazy. You have to make sure that you give allowances for your own imperfection. It's not the end of the universe if your idea does not get accepted. All right? Learn to label your emotions accurately. Call them out. Label them. Identify what emotion it is, what is triggering you, either it's anxiety or embarrassment or disappointment or anger, the negative emotions, and give it a name. All right? Focus on appropriate self-care to deal with that emotion. And then the key word here is appropriate. We're not talking about suppressing. We're not talking about using any kind of artificial mean to deal with it necessarily, or to put it away, or to neutralize it, or to numb it. All right? Let's talk about appropriate self-care. So appropriate self-care means accepting and allowing yourself to have that emotion. We're not talking about ignoring the feelings. We're talking about acknowledging that emotion that's happening in you, which is negative, giving it a name, okay, and allowing some time to pass. Wait for it to pass. Getting rid of or ignoring your emotion will make it worse. Suppressing it will just end up causing a larger kind of outbreak later on. Okay, you need to make sure you deal with it. If it's not then and there, at least put it off till after work. Okay. Practice dealing with rejection by putting yourself into smaller situations where there will be rejection without major negative consequences. That way you can practice learning how to be able to cope if you all of a sudden get this reaction. You don't want, I mean, if you can't control it and you explode at any small thing that may happen at work that is like a rejection, people will definitely notice. Believe you me. All right, they will talk about it. Tip number 3, look for feedback. And this is like if you're ready for it. All right, because if you're not ready for the feedback, it's not going to do you any good. And sometimes your feedback is not something you want to hear. All right. The thing is, sometimes we don't see our own weaknesses. And when someone actually honestly gives us our feedback, you need to listen and consider how you can be able to take care of it. You don't have to accept what they say because they may be off. Their perception may be skewed by their own emotions. So you have to gauge it carefully. Find out why you were really rejected. Right? If you are really open to get feedback and show this, you will get a lot of useful feedback and information. If you argue, deny, blame, or attack the person giving feedback, you'll really be the loser here. All right, and this goes for relationships as well, whether you're at work or personal. And you want to make sure you're aware of that. Look for feedback. Okay, tip number 4, learn from rejection. Learning about flaws that you have is hard. Think about all the feedback you got. Look for pieces of info you can use, for example, or such as your shortcomings, other person's strengths. Listen to what people are not saying. A lot of times there's subtext there. You got to pay attention to that. You can't live in your own bubble if you want to be successful. Okay, there's no lone wolves in a lot of these careers out there. You have to learn how to work as a team, and part of that is learning about your flaws and how you can adjust that kind of thing in yourself. You can only control yourself when you're working as a team. Ask specific questions. You have a right to reject all or part of what they say. Like I said before, it could be logical. It could be just coming out of their own emotions, and you want to make sure that you have a handle on that. You don't try to do a lot at once because you're setting yourself up for failure. You could have a target of 1 or 2 things. Okay, take action on the feedback. Speaking about taking action, or speaking about working on 1 or 2 things. Discuss this with your boss, and this depends on how good your relationship is with your boss, or if that person's actually interested in helping you improve. Okay, some bosses are not. Many people become bosses because they want to have a power trip. There are those who do become because they want to help. You want to find those. Those are good bosses. Okay? Identify coworkers who will give you feedback on how to improve. Make a list of steps to improve. Be specific and concrete about, the list. Okay? Make sure and document your efforts. One thing I didn't put here is make sure that you are paying attention, that you're not taking on too much. Okay? And number 6, let people know. Mention to people how you are taking positive steps to improving. All right? This lets people know that you take advice seriously. Now, don't be obnoxious about it where you remind them every time you see them. And there's people who can be in your face about it. Don't be one of those people. They're constantly telling everyone how you're going to improve, because they will definitely be judging and say, hey, are you really? And if you're not, that's not going to look good. Or if you mess up a little bit, that's not going to look good. Only tell a few people that you could trust, honestly. Your boss will react positively to improvements if he or she is involved. And number 7, most important, seek comfort. It's okay to seek comfort from friends, okay, family and trusted coworkers. Not every coworker is trustworthy, just like not everyone is trustworthy on the street, or not everybody that you meet is a person that can be trusted. You want to make sure you gauge who is a person that actually can be confidential about what you're struggling with. Who are people who see the things the same way, or who struggle also with the same things and are working on it? Who are people that are better than you and that you want to emulate? Make sure that you pay attention to that. When I grew up, my father always told me, don't make friends who are less than you, who are less capable than you, who are less able than you. All right? You should be in your circle of friends the least capable. You want to be around exceptional people that are better than you. That way, there's something to emulate, something to copy, something to imitate in order to improve yourself. All right? You don't need people to drag you down. You want people to drag you up. Okay? Keep it short term. No one likes a whiner, honestly. Okay? Don't keep on complaining or whining about things. Whine a little and then move on. Be ready for the next chance to succeed. Look out for it.